75. Welcome to the first workshop of the workshop trio organized by the District 75 to help the fellow Toastmasters to equip with the techniques they need to win the contest. Today, we are discussing what it takes to win evaluation speech contests. My name is Amisha Vijayatunga and I'm your host this afternoon, joining from Colombo, Sri Lanka. Toastmaster Gina Mapua is one of the very resourceful Toastmasters in District 75. She obtained her bachelor's degree in literature from De La Salle University, Manila, and started her career as a trainer at Sanofi, Philippines, and later became its personal manager. Due to her passion in public speaking, she became a freelance corporate trainer in training professionals in presentation skills, public speaking skills, and business etiquette, extending her service for national and international level institutions. Distinguished Toastmaster Gina joined Toastmasters International as a member of Executive Toastmasters Club. Gina won District 75 Evaluation Speech Contest Championship in 2003 and later served as the District 75 Governor in 2007 and 2008. In 2010, she moved to the hills of Nasugbu, Batangas, to bring her dream project of building a bird sanctuary into a reality. She was the president of Wild Bird Club of the Philippines for many years and currently is a lifetime member of the club. A very seasoned Toastmaster, a person I personally admire. Let's welcome this beautiful lady in and out, past district governor, distinguished Toastmaster, Gina Mapua.
Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome from the Tumulak River in the Zamboanga Water District. Okay, this is one of my favorite scenes here in the back. It's the water that feeds the city of Zamboanga. But let's begin with what evaluation is all about. And all right, here we go. So we're going to be tackling the evaluation section, the evaluation speech contest, and we're going to focus on what it takes to win today. But first, let me just set some expectations over here. I'm not here to teach you how to evaluate. That's not my purpose here today. My purpose is how you can improve your evaluation skills. That's my purpose. You are going to do the work, all right, on improving your evaluation skills. I'm also not here to train and coach you for the contest. I'm here to provide you with a roadmap for winning or increasing your chances of winning that contest. In addition, there's a second purpose here. I'm not just going to address the contestants because not all of you today will be contestants. A large majority of you are likely to be qualified for judging the contest. And in order to judge a contest properly, you must know what it takes to become a proper contestant. And you can judge so much better when you know what it takes to be a good contestant. You'll be able to pick out the better contestants when you know the process that all these contestants go through and how well they showcase this to you. So today's session, we're going to be talking about the knowledge, the skills, and the attitude that a good evaluator, a champion evaluator must possess. We're also going to take a look at the judging criteria from both sides of the fence. We're going to be taking a look at it from the side of the contestant and also from what a judge should be looking for. And finally, we're going to be looking at the pointers for contestants. These are pointers culled from the champions, whom I consulted, and they gave me some ideas with which to give to you today so that you can have that if factor as a contestant. And finally, of course, there will be time for question and answer. So let's go to knowledge, skills, and attitude for superior evaluations. And the first question is, and I'm going to also stop sharing, is because I want to see you answer in the chat box. Okay, what must I know to evaluate well? I'm going to stop sharing now and let's take a look at what you can all start typing away in the chat box. What must I know to be able to evaluate well? Are there any answers? Okay, there's the, oh, wow, people are typing. Purpose, objective, the speaker and the speech topic, objective of the speaker, purpose, literary techniques, yes. Speech objectives, objectives of the speech project, the topic. The topic, no. Message, yes. Topic is for table topics, yes. Anything more? Oh, there are 8 new messages. Let's go. Speech objective, objective of the speech. Criteria for an effective evaluation. Purpose, I must know how to craft a speech. Elisa, yes. Got it. Figures of speech, that's a small part of it. Purpose, objective, criteria, objective, listening skills, criteria, duration of the speech, how to deliver winning speech. Okay, from Mark Bernard Nunez, techniques and evaluation. Okay, let's go back to the screen again. All right. Here's an action plan for how to acquire the necessary knowledge with which to plan. The first thing you must do is study, and you are extremely lucky today because when I was working on my evaluation skills, there wasn't much of an internet running at that time. I had to pour through every single Toastmasters book I could get my hands on. And I attended workshops and seminars and I discussed. And so my sources were limited. Your sources are unlimited. So I would think that the very first thing you must gain a mastery of is the foundations for crafting a speech properly. How else are you going to be able to identify the opening, the body, and the conclusion when a speaker presents it? And I really suggest that you study the Competent Communication Manual backwards and forwards, or look for the equivalent in the Toastmasters International website. Another one is the listening, critical thinking, and analysis feedback, the knowledge part. All right? And you'll find material on this in the Competent Leader Manual, the first 3 chapters, I think. Okay. Next, study the speech contest rule book. In particular, the 2021 contest rule book, which came into effect for July 2020. Know the process, know the requirements, know what it takes to run that contest and to participate in that contest. Then know the judging criteria for the evaluation speech contest. Attend evaluation training contest, not just this, attend evaluation training, not just this one. Anything you can get your hands on. You must be like a sponge, sucking up everything that you can about evaluation, about the art of writing and delivering speeches. And lastly, discuss evaluation issues with your fellow members. Talk about it. Share ideas, share concepts. Immerse yourself completely into the intellectual aspects of what evaluation is all about. You have to know everything that you possibly can about evaluation. All right, let's move on next. Oh, let's hear this part. I was listening recently to an interview of David Dunning. He is a professor at the University of Michigan of psychology, and he is the one half of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which says that if you don't know what you don't know, then how would something about that, okay? And he said, and I quote him, a paradox. To spot expertise in other people, obviously, you need expertise in yourself. But that's also true for spotting lack of expertise. That is to be able to tell when a person has a shortcoming or to tell when a person might be getting something wrong. Well, you need the expertise to be able to judge that. True expertise to judge that. Now, if you lack that expertise, it means you lack the very knowledge needed in order to identify shortcomings. So, as an evaluator and as a judge, you need to gain the knowledge that is required with which to be able to tell whether somebody knows what he's doing. All right? Okay. I like David Dunning. Next, skills. So I'm going to also stop sharing again because I want you to write down in the chat box again, what abilities must I have to evaluate well? Okay? So what qualities must I have to evaluate well? Or what skills must I have? So empathic listening, you mean empathetic listening probably. To listen, really listen. Active listening, everybody's thinking listening. Critical thinking, yes. Empathy also with the audience. Analytical skills, I see that, yes. Attention to details, yeah, that comes from listening skills and observation skills. Care, deciphering, taking, oh yes, note-taking skills are also quite important. All right, I think there's a little pause here. Let's go back now again and take a look at what my action plan is for those who wish to improve their skills. One, deliver more speeches. Not just evaluation speeches. Work on your manual speeches on pathways, because how else can you know, not just by reading about it, but also by doing. So deliver more speeches. Take on evaluation club role, and not just as an individual speech evaluator. I recently was assigned grammarian for after the longest time, and I was all, oh my goodness, I had completely forgotten the skills. So do not think that you are above language evaluation, that you are above timer, that you are above account, because these are critical skills that you need. And so engaging even in these three roles, which are considered, pang new member. No, no, no. The skills are there that you can gain from engaging in these three roles. And of course, table topics evaluator, which I consider speed evaluation, like speed dating, speed evaluation. Now, one of the trainers is going to post now the levels of evaluation, which I created as a thing. This is a listening exercise, and take yourself from level 1 to level 3. All right, for paying attention to. Practice listening for different features as I listed them on the levels of evaluation. What you can do is go to YouTube, listen to various speeches, and practice honing. So today I'm going to be just listening for the opening of a speech and see if you can discern how the opening is and whether how effective it was. All right. Another one is today I'm just going to be focusing on content. So practice by listening for specific parts of the speech. Second, design a note-taking system and use it expertly. For contestants, it's extremely important that you must be able to take notes efficiently and to be able to identify where the strengths are and where the suggestions for improvements are with a glance. Because if you're going to compete and you're going to use those notes, you can transcribe them in bullet points, but if you do not have that time and you're still spending time on analysis, you must be able to look at all that scribbling that you've done and be able to identify exactly where the suggestions are and where the strengths are. Okay, work on your evaluation language. I've been noticing there are always cliches. As you listen to speakers, as you listen to evaluators in the course of your meetings, you're going to notice evaluators use the same phrases over and over again. Don't use it when you're competing because you're going to sound just like all the other competitors. So avoid cliches and avoid stock phrases. Also, watch out for your negatives. You could have, you should have. Okay, those are the negatives. But one more thing you must watch is out for are the diminishers in your language. Oh, just a little suggestion. Oh, maybe. Oh, probably. These are things that weaken your evaluation. Come out strong, come out, of course, sympathetic, and come out sweet, and come out beautiful, but come out affirmative and come out, not assertive, come out strong and affirmative, okay? So remove all these, just a small little phrase which you could maybe use weakens your evaluation completely. Second, evaluate everything you hear, not just speeches. If you're watching TV, evaluate the newscaster. If you're listening to a radio show, evaluate the speaker. Evaluate everybody and everything. Form opinions always. And every time you evaluate, watch the time. When you're evaluating a prepared speech, watch the time. My mentor, Tommy Lim, told me his formula, which I had to stick to every time. So an evaluation is 2 to 3 minutes, right? When does the green light go on? At 2 minutes, which means 2/3 of the evaluation is over. If you're still waxing eloquent about the strengths of the speaker when the green light goes on, you will lose, because you will definitely have no time whatsoever with which to talk about the suggestions for improvement and to conclude properly. So by the time the green light is on, you should be deep already into the suggestions for improvement, which will give you time for a summary and for a proper conclusion. All right, so time everything that you, every time you time, take note when the green light goes on, when the yellow light goes on, and when the red light goes on, and put it against to the section of the evaluation speech that you are working on, okay? It's extremely important to note how well you are using that time. And next, attitudes. Okay, I'm also going to go back again to the chat box and answer. How do I approach evaluation? How do I project the right attitude that the judges can see? Okay, so let's hear that. So now, how do I project the right attitude? What attitude should I take with me when I start? Be objective, that you really care for the speaker to improve. Open-mindedness, uplifting, motivating, encouraging, sincerity, friendly, sympathetic, motivational, adding value mindset, approach with an open mind, attitude based on reality, you be helpful, treat the speaker as an equal, statement, personal, I statements, not you statements, criteria centered, not personality centered, and to add value, not to impress. Okay, let's go back again. I think that's a little hiatus there. Action plan again for how to achieve the right attitude. First of all, know who you are and why you're there. Who are you as a Toastmaster? And what value can you give this day? So be who you are. I do not pretend to be anybody else. Be who you are, because that will come out. If you're pretending to be somebody else, it's going to come across, definitely, especially when you're evaluating. You can be anybody else when you're delivering a prepared speech because you can act it out. But when it comes to evaluation, the real you is going to come out. So might as well be who you are and know why you're there. Never forget the purpose of evaluation, and that is to help the speaker. That is to help your fellow Toastmaster become a better communicator. Cultivate an open, loving heart. Love the world, love the universe. Even for just the 2 to 3 minutes that you're evaluating, you are in love with the speaker and you are in love with the whole world, and it will show. And finally, lastly, flying kiss your ego and wave it goodbye. Bye! It's not about you. It's all about the speaker. And Google how to remove ego, because you're going to find a lot of exercises with which to work on it in order to become someone whose attitude will exude right through. I was a brand new Toastmaster when Ed Poblete won in the evaluation speech contest. And I had a chance to witness him. And I am consulting him right now, even now. I'm communicating with him. He won so long ago. I think that was in 1995, I think. All right. And for him, he is the one evaluation speech champion who truly, truly pushed out love and care and sincerity in his evaluations. I wish that there was a recording of him so that you could see how much. It pays to know that Ed Poblete is a pastor, and so it truly, truly comes out. So develop and cultivate that love in your heart and make it all come out. Be sincere, be honest, be in love with the speaker. Project love. All right. So those are the knowledge, skills, and attitude with which we must work on in order to improve our evaluation skills. And I love this illustration, which was created by June Urbina. So he says, your job as an evaluator is to show the potential that a speaker can have. A speaker can only see so much of what he could possibly do. Your job as an evaluator is to show that, oh my goodness, no, you're so much taller than that. You can reach this height. So this is, I always keep this figure in my head whenever I'm evaluating somebody. I'm here to raise you up, and I'm here to make you an even greater communicator. If you keep this graphic in your head, you're well on your way. Live up to it, and you're all well on your way to becoming a great evaluator. Now, let's take a look at the judging criteria for the evaluation speech contest. So let's take a look. Analytical quality, 40 points. Recommendations, 30 points. Technique, 15 points. Summation, 15 points. Is there anything you notice here? It's so different, isn't it, from the usual criteria for judging speech contests. Let's take a little comparison with the international speech contest. Take a look at that. The international speech contest criteria is speech development, effectiveness, speech value, which looks at content. Then there's the physical, how you look, your voice, your manner, which is the delivery. And finally, take a look at your language and correctness. And you compare at what evaluation is all about. All the criteria for the evaluation is specifically it's not speech material. It is analysis material. It's purely evaluation. Now, of course, I'm not saying that you can just say any old thing and not craft your evaluation in the form of a speech. Okay? But the evaluation speech contest criteria are very, very different. And as a judge, it is as a judge for evaluation, you must take yourself out of the mindset that of the international and the table topics and the humorous speech contest, which have very similar judging criteria, and put yourself completely into another different mindset and look at the criteria for the evaluation. We are looking for completely different things. We are focusing on completely different things for the evaluation speech contest. Let's look at the individual aspects of this one. Analytical quality, which is 40 points. We're looking at the effectiveness of the evaluation. So remember, an evaluation is supposed to help the speaker become better. So how effective is that evaluation at making that speaker, giving the speaker material with which to improve himself or herself? So every evaluation should analyze the strengths and weaknesses of the presentation. So the word here is analyze. What strengths and weaknesses are you going to choose? Because every speech will have umpteen strengths and umpteen weaknesses. Which ones are you going to choose to feature in your evaluation? Now, this also brings up the point then on the other side. All right. So if you're an evaluator, you must, as you're listening to the speaker, you're going to list down every single strength you have, that the speaker has. And you're going to list down every single weakness that you witness and you observe, because only then can you pick and choose. You do not just say, okay, once you've come up with 2 to 3 strengths and 2 to 3 weaknesses, you can stop listening to the speaker. You have to listen from the beginning to the end and have a really long list. Pahabaan ng listahan to, because only then will you be able to choose that one, the critical strengths and the critical weaknesses with which you can feature to the best for the speaker's benefit the most. Okay, where the end, here's the part, it has to be presented in a clear and logical manner. So this is where the speech development and the speech construction is clear and important. So it has to be presented in a speech form which is easily followed. And finally, did the evaluator identify specific strengths and weaknesses of the presentation? Why the word specific? Because ideally, when you say, for example, when you say you had a very humorous speech, okay, where's the proof? So these specific strengths and weaknesses must be proven as you speak. Give examples, give illustrations with which to prove that, yeah, that was a strength. Yeah, that was a weakness. Okay, so don't just say your speech was humorous. We laugh. No, no, no. How was it humorous? All right. So that's analytical quality. So the judges are looking for you, an evaluator, as someone who has been able to identify the best of the strengths and the best of the weaknesses to feature in the evaluation. And that's 40 points, almost half of the points you could possibly gain. Let's take a look at recommendations now. So recommendations are an important part of the evaluation. That's why for a full 30 points, this is just how you convert the weaknesses into a recommendation. The evaluator not only points out the strengths and weaknesses, but he also offers specific recommendations. So the recommendations must be specific, related to the weakness that you chose to feature. Recommendations should be practical, helpful, and positive. Especially important is the practical. You can make all sorts of suggestions for improvements, but if the speaker is not able to use it, then, well, yeah, you're not very effective as an evaluator, are you? You must be able to choose again the weakness which the speaker can work on immediately and to the best of the ability, and must be sensitive. You must be sensitive enough to realize what the speaker needs at that moment, urgently. Okay, and they should enable the speaker to put improvements in his next presentation. So the choice of the weaknesses is important, and how you're going to show this recommendation. Okay, how the speaker can convert that weakness into a strength is extremely important. That's a full 30 points. So think and analyze carefully about this part. Okay, the weaknesses and how you convert it into a strength. Technique is another one. Okay, refers to the manner in which the evaluator presents his or her comments and recommendations. I'd like to think the word that comes to me is empathy and sympathy. How can you be simpatico? Okay, this is the part where you exude love. Okay, must exude love from the very beginning, and this is how the judges are looking for. How simpatico are you? An evaluator should be sensitive to the feelings and needs of the speaker. So here it's the kind of speaker. The kind of speaker you adjust your evaluation to the kind of speaker that you are evaluating. Some speakers are well ahead and can take stronger evaluations, and they would gladly appreciate that. On the other hand, if it's a brand new speaker, I mean a brand new Toastmaster, you're going to have to tread over glass. So you adjust your evaluation also to the speaker. But in most cases, you exude love and care. And lastly, there must be an inspirational, motivational, and encouraging aspect in your speech. And this comes especially in the last part. All right. So from the very beginning to the end, you must be encouraging, you must be positive and motivational. But this aspect, the inspirational, encouraging, motivational, ramps up as you end your speech. And the last part, and that's 15 points. And the last part is this, summation, 15 points. If you waste time on, waxing eloquent on the speech and spend too much time on the praise, and then spend too much time in your recommendations, you won't have time for the summation, which is critically important. 15 points. Okay, it's how you conclude the speech. And what are judges looking for in the conclusion? Summarize your comments and suggestions. Summarize the strengths and summarize the suggestions for improvements. Very, very quickly, have the keywords, and then sell. This is one of the things I really look for when I'm judging. How did they sell their comments and suggestions? Did they belittle it by saying just, maybe, probably, or did they sell it and say, Toastmasters so and so, with my recommendations, I believe that you can become a better speaker and be positive, encouraging. So you ramp up the motivational, encouraging, and positiveness towards the very end. Okay, so those are the criteria, and judges, we are looking for this. Now, I have been told lately that judges, I've been reading in my course of research, I have read some things about judges minusing points for a contestant using notes. That's a picture of me when I competed. What's that in my hand? It's notes. I've consulted with a lot of champions, and about 40% of them use notes. In particular, the Tommy Lim, who is my mentor, made actually strategic use of the notes. He actually obtained a bright orange clipboard and clipped his notes to it and used it strategically. Okay, so he made a feature of using the clipboard to assist him to project the image of competence. Okay, so I will highly encourage judges not to minus points from a speaker for referring to the notes for many reasons. Why? The evaluation speech contest is a completely different speech. Humor, table topics, and international are prepared speeches. Notes are fatal, okay, for those three. Table topics, you do not need notes because it's supposed to be impromptu, it's supposed to be extemporaneous, you speak from the top of your head. But evaluation, why do we allow evaluators to sit down in the front of the room to take notes of the speaker and give him 5 minutes with which to prepare their notes, and then you deny them the use of the notes for competition, or you score them for using notes? I don't get it, because take a look at the newest rule. This is the newest rule from the 2021. All right, after 5 minutes, no preparation, and contestants must hand their copy of the evaluation contestant note sheet to the contest sergeant at arms. The evaluation contestant note sheet must be handed back to the contestants as they are introduced to present their evaluation. So judges, do not score against a speaker, a contestant, for using notes. Now score him if he uses the notes clumsily, consults too much into it, or reads it. Then yeah, I'd score against them. But if they refer to it only very once in a while, then there's really no reason against it. Okay, I'm gonna get off my high chair now. And lastly, I will end with the pointers for contestants. This is some advice called from the champion. Number 1, connect with the speaker immediately. Mention the speaker's name both at the beginning and at the end. Sorry. It's dinner time for the doggy. Okay, mention the speaker's name. So it's extremely important. Oh, goody, goody. It's extremely important that you're listening already when the speaker is being introduced, because get the title. The title could be probably fodder for your evaluation, and make sure that you get the speaker's name correctly. Find the one, here's one of the secrets which I've heard almost all the champions mention. Find the one key recommendation that the speaker will benefit the most from, and that you hope the others will not mention. Okay. You're not going to be able to find that one key recommendation if you do not list down every single weakness that pahabaan ng listahan I mentioned earlier. Okay, so now when you evaluate, you will evaluate and create as long a list as you possibly can for strengths and one for weaknesses. Okay, because only then will you be able to find that one key recommendation, which will give you the win. Also, in the case of evaluation speech contest, the objectives of the project objectives are not given. So what are you going to frame your answer on to? How are you going to frame it? I always approach it from the mindset of what is the speaker's message and what is the speaker's purpose for listening, and did he or she succeed? So in particular, read chapter 3 of the Competent Communication Manual, because that lays it all out completely there. Read it, because that helps you identify and use that framework of the speaker's purpose, what is the speaker's message, and did the speaker succeed, or was the speaker's message garbled? That will really help you. Now, you may not be judged, your points may not be awarded for dressing nicely, but please don't go out there in an evening gown, okay? Dress properly, project competence and approachability in your dress and in your manner. So dress professionally. And finally, don't forget humor. You can include humor in your evaluation. And the more humor you manage, of course, not too much. Don't turn it into, please do not start a fad of a new speech category, which is humor evaluation. But adding humor helps lighten the mood. And finally, relax. Evaluation is all about relaxation. If you are the nervous type like me, learn relaxation techniques in order to let go of that, in order to let go of that nervous energy. Okay, and that ends my presentation. We are done. Now it's question and answer.
There is one question in.
Yes.
Okay, the question is, what tip can you give the judges in all the speech contest categories so that their evaluation will be criteria centered and not be affected by the weight of the contestant's reputation?
Could you repeat that again? What technique?
What tips can you give to the judges in all the speech contests so that their evaluation will be criteria centered and not be affected by the weight of the contestant's previous reputation?
Okay, thank you. Attend the judges training. 1, attend the judges training. Be 100% well-versed on the judging criteria. Study it, discuss it. So don't just attend the judges training, okay? That's the #1 criteria. Attend the judges training, but also on top of it all, why not, I suggest, is sit down, all the judges, for example, and I might make this as a suggestion for the contest chair, is that the judges sit down together one afternoon, maybe before all the contests at the convention, and that they discuss and answer questions with each other, because you learn best by listening to the opinions of others and discussing the issues and clarifying matters. So make sure that you attend the judges training, because the judges training will teach you how to address your biases. And one of the biases is how to avoid giving too much to a contestant who is weightier, has a bigger reputation in the district, and then also to discuss issues so that all sorts of many issues are clarified. Okay. Yeah. Any more questions?
Another question. Is it okay to say at the end of the evaluation, now let me summarize?
Yes, of course. Yes, it's a good transition statement.
Okay. Another question. Can you give tips on how to evaluate a very good test speaker? Or maybe a seasoned speaker?
Okay. Very good test speaker. If I were also running an evaluation speech contest, I would not choose a championship style speech, one that is so polished, because then it really makes it so difficult. You have to choose a regular, normal kind of a speech with lots of fodder for strengths and lots of fodder for weaknesses. So I would really, contest organizers must also choose their speech test speaker carefully. But supposing if you are faced with something, with a speaker who seems perfect in your eyes, then, oh dear, that means you need more experience with which to practice the skills of evaluation, because if they wowed you, then, oh dear, okay, not enough experience. I would also caution would-be evaluation contestants to be very well aware that there may be surprise test speakers and you will get completely caught off guard. I remember in particular one speech contest, I think it was during Lito Pascual's district convention. Edix Ballesteros of Division I was a test speaker, and he delivered a speech in which every single sentence was a song title. It was extremely confusing for inexperienced evaluators. That was a very difficult speech to evaluate. So be prepared. The only way I can advise against that for surprise evaluation test speakers is to now take advantage of the situation that there's Zoom instead of you having to travel to the islands. You can visit all sorts of clubs from all over the country, visit other clubs, and practice evaluating members who are not members of your club, because that's the greatest way to gain experience.
Another question, since diminishers can dilute our message, how can we be direct without sounding harsh or discouraging?
What was the first line?
Since diminishers can dilute our message, yeah, how can we be direct without sounding harsh?
You can sound direct. You can. I would say take out diminishers at all costs, because they're not helpful at all. When you say, you know, just a little suggestion, it leaves the impression with the speaker that that's just a little suggestion. I can take it or leave it. What you want is actually to push forward. Now, our culture, our Filipino culture, is a softer culture, and really, yes, when you take out those diminishers, you can sound harsh. So you compensate for it by learning to use words which are motivational, positive, and then learn to also say it in a positive manner. So it's the cultivation of the language and the cultivation of your manner.
Right. Another question. How much of the evaluation speech should be addressed to the speaker and to the rest of the audience? How to balance these two?
Okay. Okay, I normally speak first person at the very beginning of an evaluation. So I connect with them. So I say, hey, Toastmaster Amisha, I really enjoyed your speech. So when you're doing the praise part, address the speaker directly. So look at her and speak directly to her. But when you're going to make the suggestions for improvements, you can now sort of widen your scope and your eye contact to the rest of the audience. And then finally, when you conclude again and you're going to go motivational, go focus right back onto the speaker.
Okay. What tips can you share with new Toastmasters who are just starting out in evaluating speeches in club level?
Okay, for those who are beginning to evaluate only at club level, go through the process. I have a speech on, I have an educational talk that I call Evaluation 101, which talks about the before, during, and after. I say that at least 2 days before a meeting begins, you, the evaluator, contact the speaker and dialogue with that speaker. Talk about the speech project objectives and talk about the personal objectives of the speaker, and collaborate already at the very beginning. Because once you know the speaker better, and once you have a better idea of what the speech is all about, you're better equipped to give a better speech, a better evaluation. So, and then afterwards also collaborate again with the speaker and say, was my evaluation helpful? How much else can I speak with you? So don't just focus on your evaluation duties during the meeting. Your duties begin well before and continue after.
Another question from the audience. You mentioned that if the evaluator reads directly from his notes during the contest, that you will deduct points from his scores as a judge. From which of the four criteria will it come from?
Technique.
Okay. One more question. Is there a rule of thumb, maximum number of points of strengths and points of weakness that you can share in your?
So okay, I didn't quite hear that, but is there a rule for the number of strengths and the number of weaknesses that you can include in a speech? It depends. Okay, it depends on how quickly you talk and how quickly you can express your points. But I would say maximum 3 strengths and maximum 3 recommendations. And I would distribute it to 2 strengths in front, and then the biggest strength at the conclusion. But yeah, I would load all the 3 strengths in the front pala. Then I would do the 3 recommendations, and then the summary cell or the conclusion would have the 3 summarized.
I think we have only that
There's
in
one
the
from Victor, which I see. Will the district run on how to evaluate training session? Not at the district level, I think, because I've already done one for Division E. If you guys like, I have a real pounding one, which is 3 sessions worth, set 2 weeks apart. So it's a total of 7 weeks. But that pounds you to the ground. You want to go through it? Here's
Any
another
more
one.
questions?
Yes, could you please read that for me, Amisha?
In evaluate an icebreaker speech of a newbie, someone says that be lavish with the praise and only point out one recommendation that the speaker can apply right away.
Yes.
Where will that come from? Delivery, organization, or content?
It depends on what the speaker needs the most. In most cases, I would usually, if the speaker needs it the most in delivery, then yeah, I would give it to the delivery. That's probably the easiest to do and the fastest. But some speakers are pretty good already at the delivery, and I would actually focus then on the content and the speech development. Yeah. So it depends on what you think the speaker needs the most.
Right. Another question, will there be a training on how to be a general evaluator?
That's usually included with how to evaluate training. Also how to evaluate table topics.
Right.
I think we're running out of questions.
Right.
Oh, I have one other secret for how you can be motivational. And Victor, I'll send the slides to you. How you can be motivational at the very end, at your conclusion. Use the speaker's own message, turn it around, and point it right at them. So if the speaker's message, for example, is be happy, then I would say, Toastmasters so-and-so, your message of be happy truly hit home in the heart. And I say that this speech is so beautiful and it works there. And you as a speaker, I can see are developing so beautiful. So be happy because I can see so much about your development or something like that. So turn the speaker's message around and use it to motivate them.
So Victor also asked, can we have a copy of the slides?
Yeah, she just
That's
answered
Victor.
that.
I answered you. Remind me, Victor.
Okay.
All right. I think
we are done. Well, we. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I want to know more of the experience of DT and Gina, especially in competing in the evaluation contest. How was the experience for you? Like, how did you feel at that time? But I'm not sure if it's something that we can discuss right now. But yeah, I'd like to know more. Thank you so much to everyone.
I think I can answer that. I think that I never really planned to compete at the evaluation speech contest. It just so happened that my service as an area governor and as a division governor turned out to be the training that I needed. So I was very, very interested in evaluation. I learned how to evaluate and I studied and looked into the matter because I was truly interested in it. But I found myself becoming put into the position of how to evaluate so many speeches. It started when I was area governor, and then Tommy Lim, who is my mentor, came to me and said, Gina, you can compete. Let's start training. So for the whole time that I was division governor and I was doing the rounds of all the 41 clubs in my division, and I was evaluating almost every night, he and I were collaborating already because I already had it in my head that I was going to compete the next year. So it took me about 2 to 3 years of training, of 1 year of incidental training and 2 years of purposeful training. And every time we met up, I would evaluate and he would pound me into the ground. He would actually get really angry at me because I was too slow on the uptake on this thing and that and everything. He worked me really hard. Okay, but well, the results are there. I still collaborate with him up to now, and he still helps me up to now.
Thank you, DTM Gina. And now we have come to the end of our program for today. So November 21, we'll be having the table topics contestants training session with past international director, distinguished Toastmaster Elisa Tay. And also on November 28, we will be having humorous speech and international speech contests training session with past District 75 international speech champion, Neb Perez. So as we conclude, on behalf of District 75, I would like to thank distinguished Toastmaster Gina Mapua for sharing her insights with us today. And thank you to all the district officers who joined us today, and also to the training team and technical team of District 75 for their invaluable support to make this event a success. And a big thank you to all the participants who joined us today.
Big meeting
And
kayo.
with another training, let us meet again soon. Have a great weekend and stay safe, everyone. Goodbye.
Siya photo op.
Yeah, let's have a photo op, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Turn on your
And-
video.
Oh, yeah.
Much. I will take the photo, so please turn on your videos. All right. Okay. You can smile, everyone. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, another one. All right, 1, 2, 3, smile.